I ran across this Reddit post which really struck me. The user titled it "Blogging Just Ain't It," in which they go on to describe their experience blogging or trying to create a content website, having started in January of this year, so 4 to 5 months ago, not very long. They basically say that they felt they could create better information out there, but then they get frustrated with people telling them that they should write 200 articles a year, saying, quote, "There's only so much you can say about certain niches." And then finally there was this line which really, really hit me. This kind of drove the needle into it. The article struck me, or the post struck me, the title struck me, and this line really kind of put a needle into me. He says, or she, I don't know the gender of this user here. "Also, am I wrong to think that people don't want to read anymore, at least in my target market, North America? Hence the push towards video, audio, table of contents, summaries, TLDR, which stands for too long, didn't read sections, are posts with more than 2,500 words too long." And you know what he stated there, what he asked in that first sentence is something that I think about all the freaking time, and that is, nobody really wants to read, even myself. And for the longest time, I really considered myself a reader, and I think I was kind of late to adopt, or late to maybe not adopt. Yeah, late to adopt video content. I'd prefer to read something, but recently in the last couple of years, I really don't even want to read. If I want to consume information, I just go to YouTube and do a search on YouTube, or I'll search on Google and go right to the video, right? So what is the point of doing blogs? Or are blogs still valuable? Are they still going to be valuable in the long term? And that's something I think about every day, particularly as some of you might know, and if you search around the channel or if you follow the channel, you'll know that I'm sinking a lot of money into, in the last year, probably putting close to $100,000 into building a content website and blog, right? So, you know, what's it going to be like going forward if nobody wants to read, or if nobody simply reads content at all? And I think we're basically at that point, or not at that point, but we've reached that tipping point to where more and more people are adopting this interest in video, or maybe not even the interest, but the reliance on video. Like myself, I said I used to want to read, now I go to video, right? I don't look for a how-to article anymore. I don't want to read that. I can't read anymore. I just can't focus on it long enough to read it. I want to watch the video, right? So considering that, I would only start a blog if I could supplement it with video. And I am incorporating video into the current blog that I'm building. It's been very slow at this point, but I do have a big plan to incorporate more video into it. So I would only start a blog if I could create video content for it. I'm going to say, or other multimedia content. And by that, I think really I'm saying a podcast or audio. That would be your other types of multimedia content. Now, that is kind of the gist of this, right? And this is just the gist of the video I wanted to make. I would only start a blog if I could only create video content or other multimedia content. But there's so much more we can take away from this blog post here, and so many more lessons we can take away from it. I'm going to cover those. Let me just show you an example of a blog that's doing really well with video content here, and that is Gun University. And I heard the owner of this website speak on another podcast. This was probably 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember which one. But this is fundamentally a content website. We can see all the content on here, but they've got a lot of video content wrapped up in this. And I just clicked that post to open it. We can see the blog. They've got it, laid out nicely. Best 9mm pistol, and I'm looking on the side here. I don't think these are 9mm pistols. Anyways, they've got the table, they've got the specs. I'm looking to see if they have a video on it, and I don't. What they've got, or I don't see that, but what you see right here is your traditional affiliate blog content on the website. All right, just straight up affiliate content, could have been easily outsourced. And I'm looking for a video. I don't know if they have it. They do have videos. That is why I chose to show this site as an example. Yeah, so I'm not seeing a video on this topic, but if you go to their YouTube page, they are clearly sinking a lot of money into video as well. I don't know how many videos they have in total. We can't count it. Nope, we can't count it. But what they've got, or actually we can't count it here. What is this? I was looking for a total count that says, hey, they've got 100 video posted. They've got 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 32 videos basically here. They've clearly started a little bit in the video space when primarily their website is a blog, right? So they are supplementing their blog with video content. That's very clear here. And they're probably in about the same boat as I am, whereas it's their blog is earning money and making a profit, so they're investing heavily in that. This video content costs a lot of money to create, or if not money, it costs a lot of time. But to create one of these video reviews, I don't know, they're probably into this for 10 to 20 hours of their own time at least. They've probably got one person filming it. It looks like they do. Could be done on a tripod, but they got to plan it, they got to shoot it, then they got to edit it and get it up there. It's 10 to 20 hours to create a video. It's a lot of work that goes into it. So they're probably sinking most of their time into blogs, but they do have a plan to supplement it with video content, and they've clearly already started on it. So yeah, the main point, I would only start a blog if I could create video content or other multimedia content. Now, let's go back to what else we can take away from this post here, and let's just kind of go just kind of down the ringer here of things, or down the ringer of points that this user shared. The writer's intent is obviously focused on SEO, yada yada. I started writing a couple articles, 200 articles a year. This is the first thing that jumps out at me. When 30 to 50 or even less, I really don't see the quantity of articles as a thing, but that is a thing. I guess I'll come back to that. What I think is most important when it comes to actually writing the content is keyword research. So let's just put this in here. Let's just make a note. Keyword research. Keyword research, and that leads to writing content to satisfy search intent. So somewhere in this post, this user said that they basically were doing this because it was a passion. Right? My main goal is to make income. Somewhere in here, he basically, I started a site with a niche I know quite a bit about from personal experience. At first, it seemed like there weren't too many similar blogs, right? So what a lot of people do is they just go out and they want to write on their passion, or they want to create a blog on their passion or something they know a lot about. And then they just start writing on topics that they're interested in, right? When in reality, what needs to happen is you need to do keyword research. You need to find the low competition topics, and then you need to write specifically on those topics. And they might not be topics that you want to write about. They probably won't be topics that you want to write about, right? You want to go for the real interesting stuff, which is subsequently usually the most competitive. When you want to get right, or you have to write about stuff that isn't necessarily so interesting, it's what the users want to see, or what the users need information on, and it's going to satisfy their search intent. So you have to create all of your writing around keywords. Now, on the high volume, I will say high volume seems to do better. And it seems to get more links. That's been my experience with it. But it's like, hey, the more the more anchors you put out there, or the more hooks you put in the water for backlinks, the more you ultimately capture, right? The more hooks you put out there to satisfy that search intent, the more traffic you ultimately capture. But a big thing is this keyword research. If you were creating a new blog, 99% of your content needs to be to satisfy that search intent, which is usually not what people want to write about. Okay, what else can we pull out of this here? Well, I guess one thing I'll point out is 3 to 4 or 4 to 5 months is just not long enough. You can see in my examples out there, or in my content that I share on my own website, how long it takes. And I think I did a video looking at blog posts and how long it takes them to kind of reach their peak potential in traffic. And I think I established that was, I established it was at least 7 months, 7 to 12 months. So 4 to 5 months, the content that's written hasn't even really marinated yet. And then content length. Is 2,500 words too long? At this point, yeah, I do have a whole video that I created just recently and published on my channel. Let me get it. Let me pull my channel over into here. This one right here, even though this was more on backlinks and stuff, I ultimately talk a lot about the content length and where I'm kind of finding things are optimal. And I will say that most of my content is now coming out at about 1,250 words, plus / minus. I guess you could also express this as 1,000 to 1,500 words. But I'm doing a lot of unique images in there with custom images. I shouldn't say a lot, but many of them are getting custom images. My long form posts don't really seem to be getting rewarded at all. And if you want to hear more about this, go out and watch this video. I'm not going to, regurgitate this whole 10-minute video in this video that I'm making now. All right, let's move on here. We talked about the video thing. When I see advice on YouTube from bloggers and on Reddit, which tells people not to worry if they're bad at writing, just make 200 posts a year and you'll get traffic, I feel like that's just wrong. That is just wrong. The big thing, and I can't stress this enough, and I know this because I've fallen victim to this mistake before, is you have to do keyword research and write to content to satisfy search intent. Okay? And then I guess we'll finally wrap up here with going back to that video point. Am I wrong to think people don't want to read anymore in my target market, right? Well, this comes back to you need to create content. Create content in the appropriate form. So with this post, I'm saying, hey, only write to satisfy search intent based on your keyword research, right? Well, you might have a lot of other awesome ideas out there. You might have a lot of other awesome information. You might have a lot of awesome insight that other people in the market want to see and consume. And if they got to it, they would find it very interesting. Well, that is where the video or other multimedia content comes in, right? So think of your blog as a way to capture search traffic. But if you want to engage and connect with your audience, that is where the video and the podcast type of stuff comes in. Right? Like if I just did this, as a blog post and said lessons learned from a Reddit post, or if I gave it the same title, blogs are dying, I'd only start a blog. If I did this as a blog post, probably nobody is going to find it because the keyword blogs are dying probably doesn't get a ton of search. People probably do search for "are blogs dying?" But at the same time, that's probably a very competitive search term, right? That would not meet my keyword research standards for competition. Hence, I'm creating this as a video. That is my best method for sharing this, because I think a lot of people would find this interesting. But the thing is they have to find it. I know if I publish this as a blog post, nobody's going to find it. Probably nobody's going to read it, right? So that's why you really need to create content in the appropriate form. For everything, for keyword research and blogging, you need to publish on things that people are searching for, satisfy that search intent. But if you have other insight and other content you want to share, do that as a video or podcast or something else. I don't know, maybe a TikTok. What do you do on TikTok? I am not a TikTok user. Anyways, guys, I thought this thread on Reddit was just really interesting, really struck me, and it really opened the door to touch on a lot of key points when it comes to building a blog or content website. If you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I'm signing off on this one.